Aztecs head basketball coach. Coach Dutch, how are you? Congratulations.
Tony, Chris, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
No problem. Let's get right into it. You've been locked up by the university until 2026. What does that tell you? What does that do for a coach to know that a school would give such a confident commitment in what you're doing?
You know, I think San Diego State's had a history of doing this. I mean, to think what Rocky Long did, what Steve Fisher did in their later years as coaches toward the back end of their careers, and what a great job they did with the San Diego State program. It feels good to kind of take over where Coach Fisher left off and see if I can't keep building upon the great foundation he set.
Coach, give us a little update on where things stand with your season and how much you know right now. I know it's a difficult question to ask and a harder one to answer because nobody seems to know exactly where we're going, but what can you tell us?
You know, we slowly got back. I didn't bring them back in the summer at all because I just felt they were getting more done away from us than they could with us. And then when we got back in the fall, we had to go through our 10-day quarantine period, and we slowly started getting guys into strength and conditioning and then some individual workouts. And then a week ago, we shut down the athletic department for 2 weeks. We're about into the second week just barely, and hopefully we'll be back on the floor the 17th. So it's kind of been an up and down process with getting ready for the season, but I haven't tried to overreact to that because I don't think we're going to start on time. All common sense seems like we're going to start somewhere around November 25th, which will push that start date back and give us enough time to get ready for the season.
Coach, how difficult has it been? You know, you mentioned you made the decision not to bring the guys back over the summer because you felt like they were getting more done. You get back, you have the 10-day quarantine, and then the workouts get interrupted by, kind of things getting shut down again. How difficult has that been for you and your staff to monitor guys? Because summertime is a big part of the development time. How difficult has it been for the staff to kind of adjust to that?
It's not been easy. You know, you have to be patient. You have to know some things are beyond your control. And that's always something that's hard to do as a coach. You think you're in control of everything. And when it's out of your control, it can be frustrating. But I've tried to just go with whatever the guidance is, the flow of what's happening, and try to stay there for my players more than anything. It's hard on these young guys. I mean, they've been on campus 3 weeks, and some of them haven't been on the floor one time. And so they're sitting there probably beyond all frustration in their dorm rooms wondering when they can come onto the basketball floor. And so I feel for them more than anyone else, and I'm trying to tell them we'll have enough time, we're going to have a good team, and we'll have enough time to put this together. You just have to be patient. You have to try to stay positive, and we'll get this thing heading in the right direction.
Brian Dutcher is probably the perfect guy to try and take us through this situation and take his team through this situation. The Aztecs basketball coach joining us on the SDCCU fan hotline. Coach, read a little something about the potential of you guys maybe playing in some sort of preseason tournament that would be set up like a bubble, kind of like the NBA set up for its postseason. I don't know how much you can tell us, if anything, about that. And what about the conference, and what is the Mountain West Conference saying about the actual conference schedule? Is that still a wait and see, or is everything still pretty much scheduled?
I think for a conference schedule, I think we're going to be set. The preseason is what's going to be the interesting thing. And they're pitching bubble ideas. We got information today on one that they're going to have in Houston. They got a couple other ones they're trying to pitch. But until the NCAA comes out with their guidance and we see what that is, they're all just ideas. So there's a chance we could play a preseason where we're home and road with certain teams. There's a chance there could be bubble opportunities. We're all waiting to see what happens to the Diamond Head. We're supposed to play in Honolulu over Christmas. I'm kind of thinking that might be in jeopardy. So we're looking at 1,000 different options, but until we get the guidance from the NCAA, which should come in about a week, there'll be no firm answers on any of it, unfortunately.
Coach Brian Dutcher, Aztecs head basketball coach, joins us here on the SDCCU fan hotline. And Coach Dutch, you mentioned, you kind of hit on it a little bit, that some of the athletes, struggling with this time. What type of struggles have come up for you guys, and how have you guys been able to kind of guide them through it? Because this is unprecedented times. None of us has been through anything like this.
No, it's school. It's everything, Tony. It's everything you take in school right now is virtual. You have to be on time, get on the Zoom or the platform that the class is on. You have to turn work in. You have to meet with your mentors and your tutors online. You're meeting with your coaches online. And so that interaction, that daily, hey, let me look across at this guy's eyes. Let me look in his face. Let me see what pain he's in. Let him voice something to me because I'm in front of him. Sometimes that's harder to get to, find out what's happening with him from a mental standpoint. So we try to stay in touch with him every day, whether it's the assistant coach that's overseeing that player or two, or me reaching out to all of them on Zoom or individually. We're trying to maintain that contact to find out how we can help them get through this. And it's a challenge.
Brian Dutcher, San Diego State's men's basketball coach. Coach, I just wanted to ask you a quick question about Smokey Gaines, and I don't mean to hit you kind of with a surprise question here, but I really trust your input and your knowledge of the game of basketball. And of course, he was from Detroit, and you were from Michigan. And I don't know if you crossed paths with Smokey, but of course, he was a coach at San Diego State. He was my first coach when I was a student there. He was the head coach and kind of helped me along as a fledgling sports writer to kind of learn how to cover a team. And I've always had fond memories of Smokey Gaines. And I think that his passing was a sad one, certainly for San Diego State basketball, and I just wondered if you would talk a little bit about Smokey, if you knew him at all.
I spent a lot of time with Smokey over the years, and whether it was in Vegas when he was living there, I'd go in recruiting, he'd show up at a practice. I got to interact with him. I saw him at a Final Four in Minneapolis not so many years ago, and an interesting thing is when I had an assistant's job open the last time, Smokey reached out. He wanted to come back as an assistant for me. I thought, oh, my goodness, Smokey, you're getting up there in years a little bit. I know you got all that knowledge, but this is a 71-year-old assistant or whatever he was at the time. Thought that would be a tough move, but he was ready to go. He was always a huge basketball fan, a lover, and a really good coach.
Well, Coach Dutch, we certainly appreciate you coming on and spending some time for us. I know a lot of us are certainly hoping that we get to watch this Aztec team on the court again, because kind of left us wanting a little bit more after last year's season got canceled. But once again, congratulations, and thank you for coming to spend some time with us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and I'm loving the Padres. I'm watching them every chance I can, and tonight I'm going to have the Padres and the NFL and the NBA. So it's a good day to be home and watching all these sports on TV.
Spoken like a man who can afford 3 televisions right now. Congrats, Coach.
I'm flipping channels, guys. I'm back and forth.
Real quick, Coach. Who do you like watching most on this Padres squad?
I like Tatis because of his enthusiasm and talent level, and then I like Manny because there's always pressure when you're getting that contract and everyone thinks there's not pressure. You've got your contract, you've got your money, but there's a pressure to live up to that. And I think he's done a great job. He comes out and he plays that game, and everyone thinks it's easy. You've got your money, you've got your paycheck, but he performs, and I love watching Manny too.
Indeed, I think we all agree. Thanks again for the time, Coach.
Thanks, guys.